Well, hello everyone. Welcome back. I hope that you have been enjoying watching these videos in this fascinating series about Muhammad, a critique. And we're looking at any available data concerning resources, writings that would collaborate the Islamic traditional understanding of who Muhammad was. For instance, who were his companions and their followers? When was anything written about him? Of course, the Islamic claim by people like so-called Farid, they are going to convince you, my Muslim people, my Muslim audience here, as if there is no problem that we have people who are close to Muhammad or even lived around the time of Muhammad who wrote things for us about Muhammad. In other words, don't worry, even if Bukhari is late, or if Ibn Hisham is late, or Ibn Ishaq's material not completely available anymore, or if Tabari was late, don't worry, there are other documents that were written by people who are much closer to Muhammad. I think by the time we finish, you're gonna realize this very quickly. Those so-called documents close to Muhammad, you can throw them in the trash. That's pretty much what I'm gonna ask you to do after we finish. Today, we're gonna talk about the first one called Muwatta ibn Malik. And with me here in studio is Dr. J to unpack all of that. Dr. J, welcome back. And what is it, I should say, about Muwatta ibn Malik? Of course, I mean, I have knowledge about it, but for the sake of our audience.
The reason we're going to Muwatta and pulling that one out is because it's all over the internet right now, and people are hammering us saying, you don't know what you're talking about. Muwatta ibn Malik is the earliest, and he is the one that was right there. He knew exactly what was happening. Now, most populist people on the popular level are saying this. Scholars would not say this. Scholars know that Muwatta ibn Malik is 9th century. That's true because he is the one that started the Maliki school of jurisprudence. So it's a completely different genre to begin with, and no, scholars don't squabble on when he was living and even when he was writing. They all say 9th century. My difficulty is, okay, let's take that at face value. So let's go to the slides, and let's see him up there. Now notice he is quite a bit earlier. Look at the slide. He's quite a bit earlier than the other five that have been attributed to companions of the Prophet. He's much earlier, in fact, and so that's why Muslims are zeroing in on him, because they feel that they really have an argument with this. Well, I'm going to shut that argument down right now. Just follow me on the slide here. So let's now go back and let's look at Muwatta ibn Malik. According to Muslim claim, he is from the 9th century, so indeed that's very early. I mean, is that very early? No, that's still 200 years. More than that, here's what they're saying really. If you take a little closer look at what they're claiming, they're looking at a partial copy of the Muwatta, which is there in Dublin's Chester Beatty Library, known as the Manuscript 3001. It is described as the second third of a celebrated treatise on Islamic jurisprudence and is dated to 890. This is well known about almost 100 years. Arbery was talking about this. He knew about this. But it's only 1/3 of what is really the Muwatta of Ibn Malik. Only 1/3. So we're only talking partial copy. So when was the complete copy of this? Well, you need to go back and you need to look at, you can go up online and see it. The oldest complete manuscript of the Muwatta currently known dates to approximately 1030 AD.
That's right.
That's the 11th century and is the earliest surviving Muwatta manuscript in complete form.
It's one of the versions, by the way. This
Actually,
is the Maghribi version.
There are three versions. This is the one that's used the most. They don't. None of the three agree. So, is it that Malik changed it, manipulated, accreted it, deleted, or did others afterward? Because between the 9th and the 11th century, you have 200 years. Obviously, something was happening. So this manuscript was copied on gazelle parchment. That's what we're looking for, skin, in a beautiful early Andalusia hand. Where does Andalusia?
That's Spain.
Spain. So it's way over in Spain. Right. He did not live in Spain. He was from
So
much
somebody attributed back to him.
there you go, indicating a Maghrebi Andalusian province, which is the Maghreb and Andalusia is Spanish, way off to the west. It follows Yahya al-Laythi's transmission, the most widely received version of Malik's text. There are three major ones, this is just one of them, as preserved through the Andalusian scholarly traditions. The other two that are also attributed come in the 12th and 13th century. So we're going to the earliest complete copy.
Right.
That's 11th century, right? In other words, as of today, the circa 1030 manuscript is the earliest full extent copy of Ibn Malik's work. Any manuscript that are older than the 5th century AH only are in fragmentary form or as few folios. And you can see there's if don't trust me, go to there's the authors, and there's where the study has been done. And this is from 2019.
And by the way, just to emphasize, this isn't the writing of Ibn Malik. Someone else wrote and attributed to him.
No, and you know that because Ibn Malik lived in the 9th century.
Yeah.
This is from the 11th century, 200 years later.
To be clear. Yeah.
And on top of that, let's go back to the slide again. Most important, however, the Muwatta is only about rules of jurisprudence. They are not about early Islam. This is not going to help us to know when Islam began or help us to know who Muhammad was. It's just laws and institutions. So it does not help us on any historical data about what we're looking for. That's the problem. This also explains why the Muwatta is never included in any one of the major Islamic traditions, since it is not even part of that genre. Dr. Patricia Crone actually has written a whole book about these laws and institutions. It's called Roman Provincial and Islamic Law, The Origins of the Islamic Patronage. She wrote this way back in 1987. It's been published by Cambridge University Press. You can get it. Go read it. And she talks about this. And she mentions that much of these jurisprudence, much of these laws were parallel to Roman laws. So we're not even talking about Islamic laws. Much of them have been borrowed from Roman law that were used by Arabs in that part of the world. But what part of the world is she talking about? Not Hijaz, not Mecca and Medina. This is Damascus and Baghdad. And she says these laws were well instituted in Damascus and in Baghdad.
Which makes sense because that's where the Roman Empire's influence was, and that's where the Jews and the Christians were under for a while.
And that's where the Arabs were trying to create their own jurisprudence for themselves by the 9th century. And by the 9th century, they would have been called themselves Muslims. No one doubts that. Right. And by the 11th century, of course, there would be no reason not to call themselves Muslim. But this is not from the 7th century. It is from not even the 9th century. It is from the 11th century. So let's go back to the slides again, and let's go look and see, put it on a timeline. So if that is the case, let's go back to the same timeline we looked at before. Let's redo that compilations of the Sahaba and the Tabi'un. Remember Farid and his friends and all those who want to confront us? They say this is when the Sahaba and the Tabi'un were writing their material. We pretty well know that's not the case. We said that the Muwatta is there. The Muwatta is from the 9th century, and then Munabi is 12th century, and then Hanbal, Raizak, Tailisi, and Shaiba are all 13th century. That's what we have been saying. That's not the case at all. So what we're now saying is it's not 9th century. It's not even that. It is 11th century.
That's a complete one.
There's the complete one. You have to go to the complete one, the canonical text, the one that we use today.
Right. Because
we have no idea of that little bit that's that third that exists in the 9th century. What else was it? What else was there that is no longer there? How much has it been changed? And what about the other two that come even later that don't agree with it? So let's get rid of them. Bye-bye. Let's get rid of all those. And let's keep now what we're talking about basically is that this is not 200 years after Muhammad. This is 400 to 600 years later for the Sahaba and the Tabi'un. Now that is highly damaging. But these are secondary literature. This is not the Islamic traditions, as you pointed out. This is very important. We're not talking about the Islamic traditions. It's the Islamic traditions that Muslims need to look at to know how to walk, talk, eat, drink, sleep, to know how to really live, because these are the traditions that follow their prophet themselves. We need to go to that. And so what we're going to start now, we're going to start with the Siddha, and that's going to be the next episode. When we get to the Siddha, Woo, boy, does it get damaging. But that's for the next time.
Very good. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I hope that you are starting to track with us now concerning the importance of these documents and, better yet, the dating of those claims as well. Until next episode, have a blessed day, everyone. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. And ring the bell so you will be notified when we release new content. Our mission is to reach Muslims with the gospel of Jesus Christ and help Christians engage with their Muslim neighbors. If you want to join us in this life-changing work, please support us on patreon.com/Sira International, or just click on the link below.